I'm going to get to talk for a lot. That's the biggest reason, which I love doing. But we have a big weakness in our whole thing here, and that is that most practitioners, most healthcare practitioners of any kind actually, have very little knowledge of how to manage their practice. This is something not taught. I'm not telling anybody anything they really don't know. So I've named the seminars that I'm giving Practice Management 101. That's presuming that there's no experts. That's my assumption. We have no experts in practice management in our midst. If we do, they don't have any reason to listen to me because they're not going to learn anything. But I'm considering that most practitioners are not experts, if any. And so there's a lot to understand because we need practices to be viable and to flourish. It's easier to have a practice flourishing and be viable and pleasant to work in if you understand organization. If you don't understand organization, then any effort to expand you'll consider as a direction toward overwork and exhaustion, etc. Well, let me step back and give you another term: solvent. Solvency. Solvency has to do with that you have more cash on hand right now. It's a measure in present time. Right now you have more cash on hand than all the bills that you have owing. Here's a simple example. Let's say that your personal overhead, which includes everything, all your food, all of your utilities, all of your car note, your mortgage, everything. Let's say that comes to $5,000 or $6,000 a month. This is just an example. And your take-home pay after taxes is $100 more than that. So if your overhead is, say, $6,000, your take-home pay would be $6,100. Are you solvent? Well, yeah, you can pay all the bills that are owing. However, that thin margin doesn't make for much future. If you were to lose your job, or if something were to happen to your practice, you would be screwed, blued, and tattooed. And you know, if it was a matter of you're an employee, you would have to have found another job about a week before you got dismissed. That's how it goes. And I think that the vast majority of people out there are just skimming across that financial waterline, struggling to keep their nostrils, and in some cases, at least one nostril above the financial waterline. So that's solvency. It's just a measure in present time. It doesn't have a lot to do with future. Viability, on the other hand, has everything to do with future. If your total overhead is $6,000 and your take-home pay after taxes is $10,000, well, then you have a lot more future. If you were to lose your job or something tragic happened, you have a little bit more time to handle it than if you're sitting there with $100, standing in the rain with $100 in your hand. If your income is even higher than that, you have even more future. So viability is future. And most practitioners don't understand that this viability factor is part of what they're supposed to be producing. And this is a really important point to go over. There's fundamentals. Anytime anything's not going right, it's always fundamentals. And so what I'm going to be talking about are just the fundamentals that you need to know in order to be in the saddle and in control of this horse. Because you're either going to be managing that horse or it's going to be managing you. So it's going to be Practice Management 101 Part A, and the next day is Part B. And I'm really, really looking forward to doing it, because this communication needs to get out to everybody. This technology needs to get out to everybody. It is not just about clinical. Clinical is very important, of course. This is what you exchange for money. But if you think that you can just create miracles and that's going to take care of everything, sorry, that is not how it happens. The world does not beat a path to your door. That datum is false. And so the more knowledge you have, then the more you're going to be able to control this whole thing and manage it and be cause. Now, there's also a few things that we're going to be releasing that are very important, that I guarantee everybody's going to be really excited to hear, because we've been listening to the needs and wants of our practitioners, and we're fixing to deliver big time on one of them. I've had a project going on myself for several months. It's still going on, but the majority of it's been completed. And this is going to be the technology, the administrative technology required for every hat in a practice, starting with the most major ones and coming down, as well as the structures that a practice evolves through as it's growing. So, this is a super important symposium, and it's also my first outing, real outing, so I'm just, I couldn't be more thrilled to get up there and do it.